Hello everyone, welcome to Talktor Who. Now in a different area and with a different camera.
Far better lighting as well.
Far better lighting, thank you very much. I am Lincoln Six Echo, your host. I am joined by Raven.
Hello.
Yes, another friend of mine who is really into Doctor Who and has been wanting to get into the show for a while. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes.
I must say, though, that I am a rather recent Whovian. I did not get exposed to Doctor Who properly until like a year ago. So
yes, that's very correct. And it's actually interesting that you brought that up because I really am interested in hearing your personal perspective of this show in particular, which we're talking about. Where did my notes go? There they are. We're talking about Human Nature and the Family of Blood, Season 3, Episode 8 and 9. One of my personal favorite episodes. Before we get into our thoughts on this episode, why don't you go ahead and give us the synopsis?
Will do.
All right.
All right. So, Human Nature, England, 1913, and a school teacher called John Smith has a strange dreams of adventures in time and space. And then, Part 2, The Family of Blood, 1913, and a war comes to England a year in advance as the terrifying family hunts for the Doctor.
Dun dun dun.
They put this in weird tints.
Yeah, the fonts are not very...
No, not the font, like the way they word it is a little bit odd.
Oh, I see. I was going to say, they're not very eye-friendly either.
No.
Yes, so these episodes are one of my personal favorites, or the duality of these episodes are my personal favorite.
Why?
Just because of how deep the episode is, because it has its story arc from beginning to end of the Doctor hiding his identity. But have you gotten to the end of season 3?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not spoilers for you.
No.
It introduces the idea of the Master so inconspicuously.
Why?
Because he has a fob watch too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you have this story, and it's a good story in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of adds more depth to the Master story.
Yeah.
Because before you know he's the Master, he's this old guy trying to figure out how to get all the people off of this rock. Mm-hmm. And he has a fob watch. And the Doctor is like, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. And so, yeah, I just think it adds so much more depth to that story.
I thought, up until you were just saying it just now, that it was fog watch.
Oh, no, it's fob.
Fob?
Fob.
Is that for like the turny bit on top?
I don't know what it's actually referring to. But yeah, fob, F-O-B. I had to look it up myself.
Oh, okay.
Fob watch. I actually have that specific watch.
I was going to say, it's a sweet watch. I love the engraving on the top of it. Was it an expensive purchase?
It was like $25.
Oh,
something like
reasonable?
that. Yeah, not too bad.
Amazon, Etsy?
ThinkGeek.
Very geeky thing to have.
Yep, thinkgeek.com. Not affiliated or sponsored by ThinkGeek at all.
But if you want to,
it's there.
We would not object.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get into a little bit of trivia on these episodes. First of all, Human Nature aired on May 26th, 2007. It has an IMDb rating of 9 out of 10.
Absolutely.
I definitely agree with that rating. I think it's the highest rating that I've ever seen on any episode that we've done so far. Definitely any episode that you've been on.
Yeah. As
far as the episode for Doctor Who,
mm-hmm.
for the podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, because this is the first episode that you're on.
Yes.
Yeah. It was directed by Charlie Palmer, written by Paul Cornell. Both of them were. IMDb rating of 9.2 out of 10 for Family of Blood, so it's a little bit higher for the second one. I think that one earned it too.
I think, jumping ahead a little bit, that bit of emotion they throw in, I'm going to get this later in my notes, but with the boys crying when they're shooting and then the goodbye between Joan and John, that's probably where you get the extra rating because of the emotional.
I would agree.
The actors are amazing in this.
Yes.
Oh, man. Made
absolutely.
me want to
cry. I know. Some trivia for the episodes. John Smith gives the names of his parents as Sydney and Verity, not Variety.
Variety would be good too.
Yeah. This is a reference to Sidney Newman, creator of Doctor Who, and Verity Lambert, the show's first producer. The receptacle for the Doctor's identity was changed from a cricket ball to a pocket watch, as this was something that could actually be opened.
I feel like a cricket ball would be kind of funny, unless
cricket ball.
Unless they were trying to play off Harry Potter with the snitch having a secret thing in it. I don't know if they were all thinking that or not. I just thought that just now, but
maybe. But I think the fourth Doctor had a thing for cricket.
Okay.
They're trying to play off of that too, with him throwing the cricket ball at the poles.
Either way, I like the Watch a lot especially for a Time Lord. That's just
it makes sense.
Absolutely.
Totally makes sense. The Scarecrows were added because Russell T Davies wanted a traditional monster for the story. I think they really added a lot.
I think it was a perfect monster. The aesthetics was very fitting and just creepy enough too. I liked it a lot. Probably one of my favorite. I like them way better than the potato ones.
The Sontarans.
Yes, the Sontarans. I like the Scarecrows much better than the Sontarans.
Otherwise known as the potato ones.
You guys will have to pardon me for being a new Whovian. I'm still learning the terminology.
A Who noob, as it were.
Yes.
A Who noob.
Hopefully I won't be that way for long.
No, you won't. You won't. You're among friends.
Are you going to get a hate mail for my misstep in...
I'm not going to get any mail for your misstep. I don't get any mail at all.
Maybe you should. Maybe this will be your first thing to get mail from.
Maybe you should comment saying, "Oh, why did she say potato guys?"
That stupid person, idiot.
Gosh. One last thing for trivia: Russell T Davies felt that this two-parter was too dark for the program's audience originally. It really is actually quite dark if you think about it, but I think that. It was justified. The choices that he made, I think that it really solidified the depth of the story. Personally,
yeah, but they're saying this is too dark for the audience, but I feel like there are other episodes that have dark stuff in it too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So I don't know if this is that much darker than other ones.
Right. No, I wouldn't think that it would be too much darker than anything else that they've really done. Or are going to do later on. But, yeah, no, I think it certainly is. It has dark tones. But I think that it's, like I said, it's justified.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So what are your notes that you have? She put 2 pages of notes together. It was a
2-part episode. Furious note-taking.
That's true.
If it was my first time on the podcast, I want to have something to say.
Absolutely. So before we get into your physical notes, this is your second time watching this episode?
Yes.
First time thoughts. When you first watched this episode, what was going through your head?
This is so heartbreaking. There's a lot of... I think I had probably had the same thoughts first time and the second time, but just the interplay between Martha and the Doctor. Mm-hmm. And then I was almost mad at Joan for the Doctor falling in love with her so quickly. Because first of all, he's literally known her for 2 months and they're planning the rest of their life together.
Oh, yeah.
Which, whatever, Hollywood true love. But it just... It's not fair that so many people fall in love with the Doctor.
Yeah.
I'm still, I think, pining for Rose, because it seems unfair to me. And then that episode, I'm throwing back the episode where Rose meets one of the other older companions, and they have that little feud.
Yes. Martha. I'm sorry, not Martha. Sarah Jane.
Yeah, it's just not fair to all these girls.
Yeah.
Doctor's a player.
Yes, he is. He very much is. But, he's a great guy. Who wouldn't fall in love with him?
True.
No.
But, so, yeah, that was probably my main...
That was your main thought?
I think so, probably.
For the entirety of the show. Did you catch anything on the second time around that you didn't on the first?
Yeah, I was trying to look for more of the subtleties and wondering... Well, my first thought when they called him John Smith, do you think they did it on purpose just to be like the most obscure, ordinary name to emphasize the humanity? Or do you think they were trying to pick a more typical time-appropriate name?
Well, okay, so the Doctor has a long history of using the name John Smith. Okay. So in past tense of the Doctor, he's used the name John Smith before. Okay. And so that's kind of his pen name, in a sense.
I just... Whether they did it on purpose or not, I think that it fits for emphasizing his boring humanness to pick such a blah name. Yeah. I didn't know about the historical use of him using that in the past, but...
Yeah. No, you're right. It fits. It certainly does.
So when the Doctor chooses to become human, and, well, first of all, he asks Martha, do you trust me?
Yes.
But I really think that it takes far more trust, or at least equal trust, on the Doctor's part in Martha to trust that she'll be able to handle it all. And he doesn't, he just is a given that she'll take care of everything. But that's like a huge thing to ask.
Oh, absolutely.
So, because if she hadn't followed through, he would have just stayed human forever, supposedly, right? If he never opened the watch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I guess that's the idea, I would assume. And I'd like to take this opportunity. How long have we been doing this? 11 minutes? I'd like to take this opportunity to actually start the video recording.
We haven't been recording this whole time? Aw, sad.
Start recording. There
I
it is.
was feeling all accomplished as my eye contact and
I know.
Hello.
This is the room that we were referring to. This
Much
is
brighter.
The much brighter new camera. Hey. Hello, everyone.
Man, that's depressing.
This is a professional system right here.
So, I wanted to get into some philosophical stuff.
Yes.
And the part where
always good.
The part where the Doctor chooses to rewrite himself as a human. How would you personally feel about willingly watch someone go put themselves through agonizing pain like that?
That's a very interesting question. And I think it really depends on... It kind of goes off of the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many, or vice versa. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And I think that in this particular situation, it was noble. It was a just decision. And, you kind of have to, for these kind of things, you have to take it case-by-case basis.
I'm not saying it wasn't needed. Obviously, it was necessary. But, for you personally, if you were to choose to watch one of your friends put themselves through agonizing pain, how do you think you'd handle that situation?
It'd be tough to watch that. And it would be, especially if I'm not understanding the reasons why that person did it.
Yeah.
It would be hard for me to wrap my mind around why. Especially, because it did look and sound like he was going through very high amounts of pain.
Oh, yes. Would you rather be the one putting yourself through the pain or the one watching someone else?
I'd probably want to watch someone else first to see that there's an end. What the end was going to be.
That's fair. I feel kind of confused, though, about why the watch spoke to Tim. And because the watch was telling him to, keep it safe and all that stuff. But if he had never, cracked open the watch to see what it was, the family would have never figured out that the Doctor was there. So why didn't the watch just stay quiet? Yeah,
there's a couple of things where they're doing it because plot. Then they're bringing the plot along. Because you're right. They could have just waited out the 3 months and not do anything. But that would have been a boring story. That's probably the reason why they opened the watch.
I just feel like it's a loophole. Like a plot hole. Unless... Did he hear the watch and then open it? Or he opened the watch and then it started talking to him?
I think he heard it and then he opened it.
Yeah, so that they should have figured out a different way for the family to find him. Because then otherwise, that's the watch wanting to be found. So that isn't...
Right. It's like the ring.
Yeah, that's true.
It wants to be found.
I guess. So the Doctor doesn't want to be human. Which I suppose is the reason why he doesn't go back to human when he has a choice again.
Right.
What other thoughts did you have? I have more, but I want to hear what you were thinking. I've lots more.
I think there are some really great speaking points on this episode, and some of them are, if he changes back, he's not the same person. He thinks he's not the same person if he changes back. And that whole conversation with, what's her name? Joan? Joan? Yeah, Joan. That whole conversation that he has with her, and she's saying, the Doctor has so many adventures, but the life that you just saw, where we grow old together and die together and have children together, that's a life that the Doctor never could have. And I think that puts so much worth on regular human life. I think that's a really beautiful sentiment.
I really like the part where they're talking at the end, and she talks to the doctor and says that he was braver than you in the end.
Yeah.
She says, you chose to change, he chose to die.
Yep.
But
Exactly.
going back to the whole, if he would have been the same person in the beginning of time before he lived for so long, he does tell Joan that John Smith is still in him somewhere. So I don't know if the character totally died, but it's definitely... it's close to the 4th of July right now. We're hearing fireworks in the background.
We'll just go ahead and wait until those get done.
He asked Joan to go with him and to be his companion.
Yes.
Would he have just ditched Martha?
Marcia. What's her name? It's Marcia. No, I think that he was fully intent on having 2 companions. And he's had 2 companions before. Maybe not in the past, but after,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
He's had 2 companions before. Granted, they were married. Or they were dating.
Oh, he's dated for real before?
No, I mean, Mickey and
Oh, yeah. Rose.
Rose.
Yeah.
Or the Ponds, who you haven't come to yet.
I don't count Mickey as being a companion, though.
Yeah, I guess not.
He was just tagging
He's just the
along.
tin dog.
Yeah. Yes. But when the doctor comes back up and Martha asks him how it went, like, she offers to step down. So she wasn't expecting to travel with him if he chose Joan over her.
I
Which
didn't catch that.
Which I think on her end is terrible, like, heartbreaking, and like she is so fully aware of the fact that the doctor like doesn't care for her that much. It's kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I really like the part when Baines is talking to the headmaster about the war they're going to bring, and the quote where he says, "Do you think they will thank the man who taught them that it was glorious?"
Yeah.
I thought, like, that part. And then later on when they show all the boys like such fear and crying over the war, like, that is so potent and powerful.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I love that part.
I think that there's a lot of social commentary or government commentary in this episode of that specifically of war isn't what it's all cracked up to be. Violence is bad. You don't have to resort to violence to solve problems. Human life is important. And just because you're not living a quote-unquote exciting life doesn't necessarily mean that your life isn't any less exciting.
Yeah. A technical question, though.
Okay.
When they do have the war, and the boys all shoot the scarecrows, and they're supposedly dead, if they are only straw, why in the world does the bullet stop them?
I was thinking about that too. And
Like,
I
you
was
should have
wondering,
just passed right through them, and they would, charge Dawn.
I was wondering if it was a farce where the like they were programmed to do that, and then later come back, and that just wasn't really talked about.
When all the boys retreat into the school, you hear Baines shout out, "Reanimate." So they were essentially not functioning at that point. So they are dead for the time being.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. The other weird thing is that kid, the babyface McGee, he never comes up again, and he never gets discussed. And, why does he have these powers? Why does he see Martha in 2007? Why can the watch talk to him? Why does he look like he's 10? All that sort of stuff.
I do think it's interesting that when the doctor reaches out to him, he cries out, he's like, "Don't touch me, you're as bad as them."
You're as bad as them, yep.
But at the time, is he saying that John is as bad as them, or the true doctor is as bad as him?
I think at that point he knows that John is the doctor, and he's seen enough of what the doctor is to not necessarily trust him yet.
Yeah, that part, I really wish they'd go back to that at some point.
Yeah.
I do really like the memorial at the end, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's beautifully done.
Yeah. I think it wouldn't have been so confusing if the part where he bumps Martha and sees her in the future wasn't there.
Yeah.
I could accept everything else except for that. It's like, what? Why are you in the future? I don't get it.
Well, essentially he sees himself in the future with his classmate when they're in the war together.
Yeah. But that's like a time where he's actually going to be.
That's true.
Not...
Do you know I feel like that shot where Martha's running down the street in that particular outfit, do you know if that scene actually happens in a later episode?
It doesn't.
Really?
No. Yeah, because I've through the multiple times that I've watched these episodes, I've looked for it, and it doesn't happen.
Well, that's even more confusing then.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen before either.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yep,
That's what I was expecting. I was totally expecting to pick him up again at some point. And,
right.
And she's like, hey, I remember you. Why are you here? Last note.
Okay. John Smith is being told that he is not like the person he thought he is.
Yes. How
would you handle that? Being told that everything you associated with yourself is not right or true.
That is a terrifying notion. Absolutely terrifying. And it's one of the 3 pillars of psychological horror.
Yeah. I do think that the Doctor does a fabulous job. You can really see his struggle to not want to accept it, and he asked Joan a few times, he's like, am I not enough?
Yep.
Which I think is just super powerful in itself, because if you were comfortable who you are, but then someone's like, well, you're actually this person, that person's way better than you are.
Yeah. This person is awesome and you're terrible. You're literally a garbage person.
Because it's one thing to be told you're not who you think you are, but to be told that who you think you are isn't even good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of lame.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know what I would do if I was told that. And if I was told that enough to where I started believing it, I'd probably have a mental breakdown.
Well, that's what I was thinking about while you were talking about the horror part, is people who are schizophrenic or have delusions, they are being told by the whole rest of the world that everything they're perceiving isn't true. And that there's an incredibly high suicide rate for those mental disturbances, which I honestly think would be pretty terrible, because you have to live your whole life just trying to accept other people's opinions of your life.
All right. Any last messages that you want to say before we end it today at 38 minutes?
Well, I'm extremely glad to finally be able to partake in this fantastic podcast.
I am glad that you're able to be in the podcast with your dangly earrings that I'm hearing every moment of.
I'll finish out like this. It's going to annoy all the people.
All the 5 people that we watch.
It's going to get bigger, I promise.
Okay.
And I just think it was super fun, and I was really jealous to watch you guys have all the fun, so now I'm really glad that I got to be part of it.
Well, now you're in the rotation.
Thanks for trusting me enough to voice my opinions.
Absolutely. And next episode, we'll actually start the video in actual time versus doing it 11 minutes in. Tune in next week. We will see you then. Thank you very much.